Hey guys, Civilord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Cosmic Legion's Tusk Heavy Gunner, brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios, as well as my good buddy Patrick from the Mythic Legions Cabal. I'm sure he's in the Cosmic Cabal and Figura Obscura Cabal as well. I will leave a link in the description below to his Instagram so you could check out all his cool custom work. He does amazing work making custom figures for your viewing pleasure. I don't know how much he sells them, but you are free to browse his gallery at your own leisure. But he was nice enough to get me this guy because I was a little short on cash when he went up for sale on Store Horsemen a couple of months ago. And here we are. There he is. I'm very happy to have this figure, because while the last Cosmic Legions wave was less than, we'll say exceptional as far as some things go, you know, sculpt and paint notwithstanding, there's a bunch of loose joints. I am happy to tell you that this guy, for whatever reason, does not appear to have some of those problems. He's still not great. We got some things to talk about, but, you know, very happy with him otherwise. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all our Tusk Heavy Gunner has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with some alt hands. It's got a couple grip hands with the wrong hinges for holding weapons. It's weird. So you got the trigger hand, you got the regular grip hand there. You also get the same hands again, with trigger and regular grip hand, again with the wrong hinges. I would have liked the fists and the open hands instead, but whatever. He does come with a little wrist rocket, not to be confused with a little red rocket, and a little blaster pistol, which has one of those clear pegs. He comes with like 4 or 5 of these things, and you can just plug them into the side like that, and you can snap this into his hip. He does have this swappable dome piece. Give him the bigger dome. But I'll be honest with you, I would have preferred a cool alien head. He doesn't have a cool alternate alien head, which, that sucks, man. I really like the alien heads in this line, and it sucks we didn't get another one. I mean, the Red Jet got one, what the heck. That said, he does come with this big mammoth jamma of a gun here, which I have the hands attached to already because these are a pain in the butt to get off. So there you go. The gun end, you can take it out. It doesn't rotate, but it does snap in there and stay in there pretty good. And that's your lot. Decent spread. Again, I would have liked an alt head instead of this face shield thing, but I guess because he comes with a big gun, they had to compensate for something. So there you go. Let's take a closer look at him. I like this build actually, with the pauldrons and the tubers and the pauldrons and the tubers and the chest plate. It's a really good build, although I will say this waist on mine is not the tightest thing ever, and I may need to do a little bit of surgery, heat this up, and see if I can find a sweet spot on that. Other than that, the loose joints are not that big a deal on him. He's a little weak in the knees, I will say that, but his hips are not too bad. His feet are okay, they're not great. But they're not as bad as that Outpost Axios wave. Not by a long shot. He can stand up just fine. Just saw me do it there. But as far as his articulation goes, his head will look up and down. It will tilt side to side and rotate as much as this collar thing will allow. It's good for aesthetic, but not so much for articulation. This pauldron is actually quite loose on mine, but due to all this stuff holding it down, doesn't really matter. So he can lift his arm up pretty good. Rotate forward and back. He's got the single jointed elbow, as well as gauntlet swivel, elbow swivel. Ooh. I didn't notice that before. Hold on. Yeah, let's not do that. He's got a swivel in the wrist with the appropriate hinge for holding weapons, might I add. I don't know if I mentioned that when I showed the gun, but yes, he does have appropriate hinges for holding weapons. That said, his torso will tilt back as well as forward, tilt side to side a little bit, and of course rotate. Again, not the tightest thing there, So I'm going to have to heat that up, find the sweet spot, and go from there. Hips will kick out to the side, back down, forward and back. He's got a thigh cut in there. Again, the hips aren't the tightest things in the world, but they're not like floppy loose like that Outpost Axios Wave. I had several figures that needed hips replaced there. He's got a single jointed knee. Now these are kind of sloppy, but what are you going to do? They're both kind of like that, so I assume they're all like that. And then he's got the ball hinge that will rotate, hinge, and pivot. And peg holes at the bottom of the feet. You want to throw him on a stand, but surprisingly enough, our Tusk heavy gunner here does not need a stand. I'm able to get him with his big heavy gun and not topple over. That is awesome. That is 2 thumbs up for me. So before we move on here, I'll show you this gun will plug in right to his hip, like so, and this little rocket can plug into his wrist, like so. And there you go. There he is, ready to rock, man. Except for the big gun, because that's going to take a minute. So stay tuned for final thoughts for that. Well, that being said, that is our Tusk Heavy Gunner in a nutshell. So there's nothing left to do but move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is our good old Tusk Heavy Gunner alongside another orange-colored figure from the Cosmic Legions line. We have the Cosmic version of Waltor the Mad, also a Legions Con exclusive from yesteryear. We also have the only other Tusk character I currently possess in my Cosmic Legions collection, the Tusk Pilot, aka the Red Jet, whichever you prefer there, because these guys share a lot of the same parts, all 3 of them. The Tusk Pilot, of course, has that kind of armored overlay piece with the pauldrons and the hoses and whatnot, and Waltor has similar limbs and or colors. So I guess you could possibly mix the two and make something else if you want, but there you go. That's the best I got. I don't have every Cosmic Legions figure, but I do have enough for some comparison there. So getting these 2 out of the way where they fall down, because their joints are not nearly as good as this guy's for whatever the heck reason. We have 2 regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibolith, who's still standing strong after all this time. You know, still a little perplexed as to what the joint issue is. And the infamous Element Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and as far as Cosmic Legions go, I have to say that the Tusk Gunner here was a very pleasant surprise, at least to me, because if you remember my Outpost Axios reviews, you remember that I was pretty harsh on those for having rather loose joints. Like, there's no other way to spin it. Those were loose figures. This guy, while not perfect, I still think there's room for improvement. The joints feel so much better on this figure than they did on those. It's not even funny, especially in the hips and the feet in particular. They feel a lot more solid, a lot more stable, a lot more sturdy than that of the Outpost Axios Wave. And it gives me hope that this line is going to get better as it progresses, as opposed to going down the cosmic crapper like I initially thought when I got that Outpost Axios Wave. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.